For this video, I brought together a group of women who are diverse in their ages as well as their experiences. A couple of the ladies have been married for many years. One lady married multiple times. And one lady has never been married. But guess what? She's been engaged 3 times and she has a lot to say. I want you to hear their stories. I want you to hear some of the things that they have dealt with in their relationship that they regret. I want you to hear some of the things that they would like to do over if they had the opportunity to do. But most of all, I want you to learn from their mistakes so that you will not have to make the same mistakes. But don't think that it's all misery, because we had a great time talking about some of the wonderful things that they have experienced in their relationships. So at the end of the day, I want you to really, really listen and take from it what you will. Use it to enhance your relationship. So if you're having problems in your relationship, or if you have a happy marriage but you just would like to know how other people handle certain things, stay tuned. Welcome to Cutting Edge, the show where we discuss burning questions and trendy topics. I am Soretta. I am the owner of Crème Experience and I'm your host. So today our panel guests are wise, very wise women. They are wise not because of their ages, but because of their experience. So let's meet them. So first we have Lynette Ray. Lynette Ray has been married to Mr. Ray for 32 years. They have 4 children, 7 grandchildren. She's from South Louisiana and has lived in Dallas for about 30 years. She enjoys spending time with her family, quiet times with her husband, playing with her grandkids, and visiting with her friends. Thank you, Lynette. Okay, so our next panel guest is Miss Mary Wilkerson. She's the 6th child of 8 children. She's a wife, a mother of 2, grandmother of 4, and a great-grandmother of 1. She enjoys listening to gospel music while she's driving. She loves working in her flower garden. She has worked 40 years for EISD. So one little funny note about her that she wanted to mention is that she was born at LG Pinkston Clinic in Old North Dallas. And just by chance, she also ended up working at LG Pinkston High School where she retired. Thank you for joining us. Okay, and our next panel guest is Quinetta Crawford. She has been married for almost 27 years. She has 2 grown, amazing sons. She's the owner of a travel business. Her hobbies include traveling, and she loves hanging out with her family and friends. Thank you, Quinetta. And then last, but certainly not least, I want you to meet Miss Charmaine Rala. I spelled it wrong, excuse me, Miss Charmaine Rala. She's a retired counselor. She is a fabulous 78-year-old single woman who has been engaged for 3 times. She enjoys playing cards, going to the movies, and having lots of fun with her friends, eating and playing games. Thank you, Miss Rala. All right, so ladies, let's talk. Okay, so my first question is, what does it mean to you as far as being in a relationship? What does being in a relationship mean to you? Lynette.
Being in a relationship means everything to me because, and over the years it has changed. He was my backbone, of course, with the kids when we were first married. And now, since the kids are all gone, we just enjoy doing things together. The TV is off most of the time. And we're just we have dinner at the table again. Just the 2 of us. So I enjoy having him in my life, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay. What about you, Miss Wilkerson?
Well, being in a relationship is someone who is there. Someone who's always got your back. And sometimes you think what you think and he's thinking, you on one accord. And if a situation come up, we don't agree, we have our separate TV, he go to his room, and everything works out fine.
All right, and Quinn, what does being in a relationship mean to you?
Because you said being in a relationship definitely means to me commitment, loyalty, knowing your mate, whether you've been in there for a few years or a lot of years. Relationship means exactly that. Having relations more than just the sexual. Relationship meaning getting to know one another. Again, whether you've been a year, as you grow, as somebody said earlier, as you grow more fond of your mate because it is a quote unquote relationship.
Okay.
So definitely.
All right. And what about you, Miss Rolla?
I kind of go along with Claudetta that you need to have someone that you can depend on, someone that shows affection toward you, someone that you can depend on, and kind of like the same things that you like.
Okay. Okay. All right. So my next question is, how did you pick your mate? So I know, Lynette, you've been married for a long time. Miss Wilkerson, I know that you're married. This is your third marriage.
Yeah, we around the circle.
And Quinetta, I know that you've been married a long time, but Miss Raleigh, you've been engaged 3 times.
3 times.
So how did you pick your mates? And Miss Raleigh, for you, so how did the 3 times that you were engaged, like how did you pick them? Did you use the same method? Was it pretty much the same? How did you guys pick your mates? Okay, let's start with Miss Wilkerson.
Okay. My first one. I should have listened to my head and not my heart.
Okay.
I was at my grandmother's funeral, and I met the first one.
Okay.
And then the second one, I met him in church. And I thought, oh, well, I got me a church person, you know.
Okay.
Let's look for somebody who can go to church and religious. But,
So did you think more because he was in the church? Did that weigh more for you? You thought
That
he was
weighed
going
more
to be
for
great
me
because he was in the church? Okay.
yes, because see, the first one, he wasn't in the church.
Okay.
But the second one, I said, okay. And I had, 2 children, I was looking for someone who could be a role model for my children,
Okay.
because I had a son. But that didn't work because if you heard those saying, when he go to church, he would have his sheep clothes on, he would just be a lamb. Then when he come home, he put his wolf clothes on.
Okay.
It was a whole different ball game.
And that's reality.
So, with that one, I was married long on paper than I was in reality married to him. So, the one I have now, we've been together about 30 years. So, sometimes, you have to kiss a lot of ugly frogs before you find your prince. So I had to kiss a lot of frogs, and I finally found one. Because every man that you marry is not your husband, it's somebody else's husband.
Oh,
And
okay.
every woman, it's not your wife, you could be married to someone else. Because I go back to think, in the marriage ceremony, what God had put together, let no man put asunder.
Okay.
So, if that's your husband, I don't care what come or go, you go stick.
Okay. That is great. I like the way you put that. Okay, Miss Rolla, what about you?
Okay, the first engagement, it was a fellow from Mississippi. He was real tall. He played basketball when I was in college. I had my mother to come to Tennessee where I went to school, and she met him, and everything was nice. He gave me a ring, and my mother, when she saw him, she looked up, she went, golly, he's tall. So, you know.
So, but how did you pick him?
Well, I picked him because he was nice and kind
Okay.
and everything. And he was kind of on my same level because both of us were in college.
Okay.
I felt like that
Mhm.
was a contributing factor.
Okay.
And then I realized, no, this is not for me. Because we would walk, you know, on campus and everything, but I didn't want people to see me with him. So therefore, I knew that, you
Well,
know, that wasn't.
Yeah, because you didn't want to be, you didn't want to be
I
seen
didn't
with
want
the
to be
poet.
seen with
Okay.
So the second person that I was engaged to, I was working in Alabama, and we knew each other, excuse me, for a length of time because we went to school together. And then when he came to visit me in Alabama, I realized, no, this isn't what I want either.
Okay.
And then the third one gave me a paper. Well, he was a little younger than myself.
Okay.
He was an educator, and we just kind of clicked at the time. But then I realized he asked me to marry him, but he didn't give me a ring. He gave me a piece of paper showing me that he had purchased. He had the ring on layaway. So I said, oh, okay. But then I caught him with another woman, so I knew that wasn't for me.
Okay, so let me ask you, so do you think that you actually picked the three of them? Or did, you said one of them you guys sort of clicked, or did they pick you? Or did you really pick them?
Not really.
Not really?
I think they kind of picked me.
Okay. Okay. All right, Quinn, what about you?
You just said exactly that's what I was gonna start out with. I didn't pick Zim. He picked me because we were married young, probably much younger than y'all were, 21 and 22. So fresh out of school, he was in college playing football. I already had a son from another relationship, and I mean, I really don't think, now that you say that, I don't think that I picked him. I'm absolutely sure that I did not. But he chose me. We dated in high school sweethearts from the 10th, 11th grade, and we dated for like 6 years. And he came home from school from Oklahoma one time and took me out to dinner and asked me to marry. We had never talked about it.
Wow.
We had
I didn't know
never
that.
discussed marriage at all. And he asked me to marry him, and that's why I say he chose me.
Yep.
I'm glad he did.
Me too, by the way.
I'm glad.
All right, Lynette, what about you?
I don't think I don't think I chose him either, or I don't think we chose each other. I think we just we met at a party from my cousin dated his nephew, and they were like, oh yeah, you have to meet each other. And we met, and it was like, oh okay. We danced and went our separate ways. And they kept, every time they had something going on, bringing us together. And we're like, okay, I guess I'll talk to you. And we just talked until we actually really started liking each other. And I went back to school. He went back to school, and he was writing me every week. So, I mean, he was a writer, and I was like, gosh, I gotta put a letter. I mean, he would write me at least 3 or 4 times a week. I'm serious. And I was like, my goodness, I gotta write a letter back at least once or whatever. But everyone I met after that, it was like, no, I just wanted to talk to him. And that's how we just ended up together.
They didn't match.
Yeah, it was like, and I didn't really even know him that well, even though we were from the same town, across the town from each other, and I didn't know him at all. And all the way through high school, I was a freshman. It was after my freshman year in college when I met him, and it was like, okay, and then we went out a couple of times, and we just never stopped.
Okay. All right, so, okay, ladies, so So tell me, okay, so in your relationships, and I mean like really dig deep for this, like, so what are some of the sacrifices as a wife, or just in your case, Ms. Rowland, like in your relationship, like what are some of the sacrifices that you've had to make? Like I know myself in being married that a lot of us think that, sometimes I think women think that a marriage is glorious all the time. And I think it's absolutely not glorious all the time. While it is wonderful, I don't think it's great all the time. And I do think as women, sometimes we have to give up stuff. We have to make a lot of sacrifices. So what are some of the sacrifices that you have had to make in your relationships?
Can I say?
So,
I'm going to start from having young children, even though they're not young anymore, but I think that was probably the most sacrifice during my marriage time. And that's getting up in the middle of the night. Even when my husband wanted another child, yes, he wanted another child. And my first question to him was, are you going to get up in the middle of the night this time? So he couldn't say for sure. That's why we never had any more. That was it. We just had, because to me, I like my sleep, I like my time, not being selfish, but as a mother, you are really almost obligated. I know as a husband and a wife you should, but as a mother, you are obligated to get up in the middle of the night to do this. Because if that husband, if he doesn't get up, then guess what? Then it's just you and that child.
and that's nothing to gloss over, because a lot of people, when they have children, is when they break up. Like it's marriages are already hard. Then they have children, and a lot of times it is because of that. You hear women saying, "Well, he won't change diapers, or he won't get up," and you know, and you losing a lot of sleep, right? When you have children, you barely get a chance to sleep. So that's nothing to gloss over. Lynette, what about you?
And I can piggyback on what you're saying. It was the same thing with me. Even if Charles got up with the kids, I'm still looking and making sure, because he didn't do as much. And so, you know, and then you're tired and whatever. So I think that I would be like, oh, you sleep. And when we were, especially when we first moved here, Charles worked nights all the time. So he worked nights, and I was with the kids in the daytime because he was sleeping. I was with the kids at night when he was sleeping. And I still made sure that he ate before he left. I mean, I made sure that his clothes were ready. I mean, I did all of that. I told him not too long ago, I said, you got up and got dressed, ate your food, and went to work.
So do y'all feel like, as far as that sacrifice, that's what, giving up, what, private time for yourself, giving up, is that what you think? Is that what it is?
I thought it was
So I think when you do have children, it is very, very, very important that you have children and marriage, that you as a wife do not lose yourself. Because
I had to give up a very good job because, you know, I had 2 young children and I worked in second shift. And I would carry my kids to my mother in the afternoon. And when my husband was getting off from work, he was to pick them up and take them home. He would pick them up, but he would be in the street, riding up and down. And one night he was inside the place, and my baby was inside the car, and the mosquitoes just ate my kids up. They was lurching, you know, they was swallowed up. I said, oh. So my mother decided, well, Mary, just leave the kids here. You can come get them in the morning. Now I would get home to about 1 or 2 o'clock because I was working at TI. And by the time I got home to go to sleep, I had to get up by 6 o'clock to go pick up my kids, to bring them home, dress them and feed them. Then it was time for me to go back to work. I had to be working at 4. So I gave that job up. And I remember one time when I was working there, I got real sick. And I called him to come pick me up. This joker got mad because I got sick at work. Come pick me up. And I, you know, went home. I had my babies. That rascal left, went partying that night. I'm at home in the bed sick. So I gave that job up and went to a job that wasn't hardly paying anything because I was working trying to help at the house. But you know, he didn't appreciate it. So I had to give up a good job trying to help, but it didn't work.
Okay, Ms. Rowland, what about you?
I think, uh, I think, to me, I try to do so much for my mate.
Ah, okay.
And then when it's for my time, they're not doing it for me, so I just kind of let them go, you know. I don't think we're compatible for one another.
Because your sacrifice was given.
Giving.
So
and
you
not-
gave
And
more.
not getting.
And not getting it back, okay? And that's how many women, like we all know that, like anybody can raise their hand, at some point in your relationship, that you gave more to somebody, to your boyfriend or whatever, and they didn't give as much. So that's common. Okay. Okay. So how do you guys deal with like resentment, or like, you know, due to a lack of trust or whatever it may be? How do you deal with resentment towards your spouse or your significant other?
Like lack of trust?
Yeah. So resentment. Let's say your spouse did something and you resent him for that. How do you deal with that? Or have y'all ever experienced it with your spouse?
Not to that extent, but I know, I mean, just trust issues in general. I think going to conferences, that's what helped us. And that's what we always tell a lot of married couples, especially early on. Because we all know if you have no trust in your mate, I don't care what anybody say. I hate to say it isn't going to work, but you're going to have a lot of hard times.
Some issues
A
all
lot
the
of
time.
issues, yeah. So going to conferences and retreats and all, that's what helped us with trust. Because you do those little exercises and then after that, I mean, it's not even an issue, you know. It's not even an issue.
I think talking. I mean, you have to talk. And Charles is like your husband. He's quiet. So and I talk. But when I get mad, it's like, oh, you're not gonna talk to me anymore. You don't want to hear me right now. You really don't want to hear me right now. But anyway, you know, you have to talk, because if I have some issues, especially with trust, I want them to be addressed right now.
Okay.
Because if I thought that you had some issues with trust, I would want to put your mind at ease. And that's where I want to be.
So when you say you want it to be addressed right now, you mean like you want you guys to sit down and have a conversation about it right now, or whatever it is that caused the distrust, you want that to be resolved?
Yes, right now.
You want it to be.
Because with me, I will think about it. I will simmer over it. And I mean, every time we're talking about it, even if I said, no, it's okay, I want it to be resolved. Because a lot of times, and not with myself, but I have seen where people are like, well, it's okay, we'll do it, yeah, we'll deal with it. But you need to deal with it. I think you need to deal with things head on.
Yeah.
Because I know with me, I have not trust issues, but things go. And then it just bothers me. And eventually it's gonna come to the to the top.
Because it can be resentment for anything. Like
Yes.
let's say that you guys have maybe he's supposed to pay a bill and he didn't pay the bill, and the lights got turned off. You know, you can resent a person for that. So it can be anything. And, I mean, anything in a
Especially
marriage
early
that
in
causes
the
it.
marriage.
Yeah, it
Oh,
can be
yeah.
anything. What about you, Miss Richardson?
Infidelity.
Okay.
Now that's a hard pill, especially when it's with your first cousin.
Oh, okay.
You know, you have to do a lot of praying and a lot of talking. You know, I would talk to my mother, and she was a good old soldier. You know, she was gonna tell you what's right, what was right. If you didn't want to hear it, don't go to her. So, when I was having problems with that, and she talked to me to sit me down and say, now, Mary, if you find someone who's going to pay the bills, who's not going to fight you, you stay there. Because you're not going to find one who's going to do 100% right.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had to do a lot of praying. But I got over it.
Yeah.
I really got, and today, He's dead and gone, and me and my first cousin, we get tight, real tight. And don't even think about it. She can't do enough for me. But I don't let that, you know how some people say, I'll forgive you, but I won't, forget. No, if you're not gonna forget, why you forgive me? You know, you got to let it go.
You
Right?
truly forgave her, and you have forgiven and forgotten about it.
And
moved
I
on.
forgave him before he left from here.
Oh,
We
okay.
became real good friends. At one time, we couldn't say 2 words, but we had children together. But it was fixed before he left here. I was going to take him different things. I mean, we just got to be good friends, and I'm so glad today
Oh, yeah.
that when he left from here, we was on good terms.
Okay. All right, ladies. So how did you or how have you managed satisfying your husband or your significant other sexually? Like, so how do you deal with, let's say he wants to have sex 5 times a week. You want to have sex 2 times a week. Or let's say it's vice versa. You want to have sex 6 times a week. He want to have sex 3 times a week. So how do you deal with that? How do you balance how much he wants to have sex versus how much you want to have sex, or what you think about that?
I'm not the same as I was when we first got married, but I'm here to please you.
Okay.
Can I tell you what one lady said? She was an older lady, and she's my husband's aunt, as a matter of fact. They asked that question, so to speak, and she said, so what if in the middle of the night, your husband asked such and such, like he wants to,
Like you want,
and you having one of your times, and she said, I just roll on over.
You just like, yeah, you just throw me a bit. You go with it.
That's exactly what she did. She said, I just roll.
Because that's what I used to, I would say, okay. And I'd be saying in my mind, oh, this won't be long. Please don't go. You got to, if you don't satisfy your mate, he'll go somewhere else.
Okay.
So, keep him home,
Keep him home.
Keep him home. Don't let him go out.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. So what about, so this is modern day, and I don't know about the olden days, but what about sex toys? We're talking about satisfying your man. Do y'all agree sex toys are good? You disagree? Have you had in your experiences where you've used sex toys and your spouse didn't like them or whatever? What are y'all thoughts
But see,
about that?
I don't disagree with them using them. I just haven't been there.
Yeah, I know several people that do.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us,
And
that's just something we haven't ever.
We have experience.
But I do know several people.
Miss
married.
Wilkerson is dying to
Yes.
Miss Wilkerson.
Back in my day, we didn't have no, it was a real thing or not,
Okay.
Sex toys, no. As long as the finger was working, that was fine, I love it.
Okay. What about you, Miss Rose?
Okay, I had a problem with not being able to ejaculate.
Okay.
Okay, and I started using KY.
KY gel.
My mate.
By the way, this
always
is not
say-
sponsored by KY gel, but when you see this, if you would like to sponsor us, we will accept.
And my mate, told me, where's your KY, and I bought some for myself, and I bought some for him also. And I have used sex toys.
Okay.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't,
But you were willing to
Yeah.
try, right? Because to help the relationship.
Right.
Okay. Right. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Soretta with Crème Experience. So, ladies, we had a really good time earlier. So let's talk about this next segment is Dear Crème Experience. So some of our followers actually wrote us little short letters with their issues and concerns. So they want your advice. So I'll read the first one and you just give them your advice. Dear Crème Experience, I have been married to my husband for over 20 years. We started out in love, spending time together and caring for one another. However, my husband for many years have had multiple affairs, so many that I have dragged him from another woman's house. I've told him that I am not leaving, and I have refused to pay any bills. Now, I've had a couple of affairs too, mostly because I don't get any affection from my husband. I don't want to have an affair, but how do I get my husband to stop having affairs? Anybody?
Well, first of all, you can't stop him, because any man or woman that wants to have another affair or wants to cheat, they're gonna cheat.
Okay.
Regardless. So I would say find out what is missing, because if he's doing that, then there is something missing in the marriage. I mean, it's going to be sort of hard for anybody to really say. She knows and he knows what is or is not being done. You know, is it a communication thing? Is it is it more giving? Or are they missing each other's love languages? Is something going on in there? And I mean, I'm sure she has some signs. Now, what I would not agree to is, because he's had affairs, then she goes and having affairs, then what does that, I mean, that's really not a marriage. You're really now, you're just roommates. So are you comfortable with that? Or are you going to be able to, at the end of the day, say, I stayed in this marriage, and I'm happy with it. I'm okay about doing this. I bet you she isn't. I bet you after she finished having those affairs, she's still having those same problems.
Because she
Exactly.
I'm not gonna
Either
say
you get out or he get out.
right.
Okay, Ms. Rowland said, so Ms. Rowland, your view is do something about it. You get out or he get out. Okay.
Because what's the purpose of staying?
Yeah, what is the purpose?
Because she may bring you, he may bring you some kind of disease, or she may bring him some kind of disease.
Yeah.
They not unprotected
Uh-huh.
sex. But two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
And like Ned said, she needs to go back. What took her to get him in the beginning, maybe she needs to start over.
Okay.
Sometimes that's the only way.
Oh,
You got to continue to do what you started out with to keep a man. And sis, the best way to a man's heart is feeding him in the stomach. So
Now
wherever
be
she's
complacent.
going, she needs to go back and check and see what I've done wrong. Just go do an inventory on herself.
And I hate to say this, because not to say what you're saying is incorrect, but all the time it isn't that the woman is doing something wrong.
That's true.
It could sometimes mean, and I'm just speaking from when my husband and I are talking to people, men and women, it's not, sometimes it's that the men just have reached a certain point where they're reaching for something else, and if that is the case, then sometimes we need to level up some. Maybe it was okay when we were early out, just going to the movies and going to the, or maybe just doing the missionary way, So I'm trying to find the word. Missionary way. So as you get older and it gets quote unquote dull
Or boring.
you have to do something else. You have to do something else.
Yeah.
And I always say this too, and I love telling couples this, that when you are going out having an affair, it's easy. It is easy for me to go and have an affair with Joe Blow on the block, because guess what? We don't have bills together.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about kids. We don't have to do this. We can do whatever we're gonna do, and I come back home. You know what I'm saying? So if you are really gonna make the marriage work, and you really want it to work, then you're gonna have to get to the nitty gritty, get to the root of it, and because otherwise you're just gonna be doing the same thing.
Because marriage
Right,
is
you're
exactly that, work. I tell my followers when I do podcasts and stuff, it's more work than anything. If you're not ready to work, you're really not ready to be married. Somebody else was about
Marriage it really is a job. You go out and work every day, but keeping your marriage together, you got to work hard. And like I say, take both of you to make it work. If it's one trying to do it, the other going, but what do you accomplish? Both, like I say, he's going to the right, you going to the left. And what if you got children, and then your children find out Dad was over there with Sally Sue, Mama over there with Bozo, you know, that's not gonna work. You're not showing no good example. But you need to find out, get together, go to a marriage counselor, or go to the minister, someone. But a lot of times, you know, sometimes they go to your no, go to someone who don't know.
And I want to make sure everybody heard that. So her recommendation was not to go to a family member, but to go to somebody who does not know.
Go to somebody who don't know.
Okay, so let's go to the next letter. Dear Crème Experience, I have been married for many years. My husband is hardworking and he takes care of the kids. I know that he loves me, but he drinks and smokes a little weed. Sometimes he gets so drunk that he comes home angry. No matter what, I am never able to calm him down. He has started beating me. What should I do?
Oh, no.
Okay, Ms. Rollins?
Don't lay your hands on me, because I'm gonna come back fighting on.
So your advice to her is what?
Don't take that off of nobody.
Okay.
And because he's not your mother and he's not your dad.
You can't be raised for once.
Right.
Okay.
I never tell anybody to leave a marriage except, I mean, because I believe, you know, you can work on anything, but when you are being abused,
Yeah.
to me, that's just one thing that you can't, yeah. And if he isn't willing to get help, then that means it's going to constantly happen. So your way out, you're good. I mean, you better be happy that you're still living, because especially nowadays, y'all see it all the time in social media, on the news. There's so many people that think, you know, oh, he's gonna quit. Oh, you know, he said, I have a very, very, very best friend that left an abusive marriage. She left her marriage, beat after day after day after day after day. He was seeing other women, this and this, and they married. She left with her and her 5 kids and didn't have anything, and went to a homeless shelter. And because she was tired of getting beat all the time. So I say leave, because you don't know if he's gonna kill you one day. He's full of weed and full of, you know, alcohol. You don't know what is,
No matter what.
And then when he comes to, it's too late. You're dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't stand around for that. Yeah, because if he hit her once, he's going to continue to do it because she's not doing anything.
Unless he gets some help.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't advocate telling anyone to leave either. I know that that cannot be a really easy decision to make, but staying there is not good either.
But you know, a real, you know, getting hit, but you can be mental.
Mentally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that is, to me, it's worse. Are you kidding me? Because they can just take your, you know, your esteem so down, and you just, they can tell you nobody, you're not worth, and you get thinking, like I said, you lose yourself, and you say, I'm not worth nothing, and then in a little corner, but you got to stand up. You know, you just have to stand up, and if standing up, like I said, leave, keep walking, because going back sometimes don't work. It gets worse. So when you make up your mind, make sure this is what you're going to do, and keep going.
And keep going.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Okay, so here's the next letter. Dear Crème Experience, I want to have children, but my boyfriend doesn't. He has not asked me to marry him, so I don't want to wait because I may not be able to have children if he waits much longer. What should I do?
She wants to have children. He doesn't.
She wants to have children, but it says, I want to have children, but my boyfriend doesn't. He has not asked me to marry him, so I don't want to wait because I may not be able to have children if he waits too much longer. What should I do?
Well, I would say this. First of all, first and foremost, they're not even compatible right there. Just right there, they are not compatible, because if I want to have children and you do not, we on 2 different wavelengths.
Okay, so talk about that, ladies, for other ladies, because it's so many women think that they can change. So like you just said, that's a perfect example where they're already not compatible, and she's not even willing to face it. She's asking what should she do, as opposed to just accept that you're not compatible and move forward and find somebody that you are compatible
Because
with.
it's very unfair to him if she does go on and try and get pregnant.
It's very unfair to him.
Yes, it is.
You move forward
Yeah, you
because
do
if she,
go on.
Oh, go ahead.
okay, by chance she come up pregnant, it don't make no sense to have a baby. You got two parents, but it's better for the child to be happy with one parent than to be unhappy with two.
Okay.
So I would find someone else.
Yes.
Okay. But what about the lady who says, well, I know he said that he doesn't want to have children, but I have a baby and that'll change his mind.
No.
That don't
That
work.
doesn't work.
She's what, Lynette?
Delusional.
And you're setting yourself up for destruction.
Right.
You're already setting yourself up for an unhappy marriage before you even go into it.
Because he gonna
Either
walk.
they may not even
Because she
know.
wasn't Miss.
He will walk away from her.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, she would be stuck with the baby. And the old saying, mama's baby, daddy's baby. So, honey.
Because a lot of women seem to think that children can keep a man. Children cannot keep. If a man want to leave, he'll leave you with 10 kids. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about children. That's one thing my husband and I said. If we're ever having problems, we do not want it to. We don't want children to be the reason that we stay together, because children will end up being unhappy themselves, and so that's not a reason. That's not a reason to stay because of kids. I don't believe in that.
Because children think that's the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
You know, you said no.
Generational curse.
Somebody got to break it
To build
Yes.
habits.
And like the fruit doesn't fall
from the tree.
It doesn't, I mean, because if you go into this marriage, I mean, like, then the kids will see it and then they'll fall in the same boat that the parents are in already.
And then if she have even if he is, say, you know, you have some men don't want to have a baby, but okay, we get together and she become pregnant. He may be one of those kind of men, okay, I'm going to stay in this but he isn't going to be happy.
And then the result.
He isn't, so because he isn't going to be happy, she is not going to be happy. There you go. Yep.
Okay, next letter. Dear Crème Experience, I am a single mom and I love my children. I have been dating this wonderful guy for 3 years, but he won't marry me because he says my children are spoiled and needy. I don't want to lose him. What should I do?
Giving birth to a child is more important than a man to me. I mean, you know, if he doesn't want to marry me, why marry?
So what? So here it sounds like her children are spoiled and needy. So what should she do? Should she leave? Should she try and nurture her kids and maybe teach her kids not to be so spoiled and so needy? Like, what should she do?
If she has already set that trait
Yes.
and set that pattern,
It's
a
hard.
huge thing is going to depend on the age of the children. And I know it didn't say there, but if they are younger, then yeah, go ahead. You can retrain them, so to speak. If you're talking about teenagers, you can forget it. It's I hate to say it's too late, but it's too late for that. You've already trained. Don't no man want to be around spoiled. And I'm saying that because I work with men every single day, and I hear every day about some of these women that have bad kids, and that's the reason they don't marry. I hear it every day.
It's a letter.
I have a new story every day about what the men talk about.
Okay, so let's talk to the women who we won't call their kids bad, but bad kids. Okay, so that's something to think about, especially if you do want to be in not just a marriage but a relationship. Like maybe you need to make sure that your kids are not so unbearable that a man who you're dating.
You should anyway.
Okay.
You should anyway, especially if you think that you do want to have a relationship with somebody, because that may be okay for you. But someone else coming in there, that's not going to be okay for them.
You know what my husband said, because I already had a child. So he said to me when we got married, he said, when we sat down, after we got married, he said, so, and this was crazy, we should have done this, well, we did sort of do it before we got married. But he said, I need to know, am I going to be able to discipline his name, him, am I gonna be able to do this,
Yeah.
or we're gonna have a problem with it? If we're gonna have no, we ain't gonna, why would I, no, we ain't gonna have a problem with that. He needs to be disciplined.
Okay, so what do y'all think about what she just said? Because I hear so many women saying, "Can't nobody discipline my kids," or "Can't nobody." So what?
I agree with you, because if you trust him and you know him, you know him, and you trust him, then you should trust him with your child.
That's right.
Now, I think that women should look for the signs, go into that with their eyes wide open, because you cannot just bring every Joe Blow into your house with your child. Your child. But if you have nurtured your relationship with him, you know him, and you know him. Not that you fly by night found him or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. Then you should be at ease with him, discipline that child, and that child should know that he is a father figure in your life right now. He may not be your father, but he is a father figure in your life, and you are going to respect him.
That's right.
Ms. Ferguson, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna say, a mother, with her children, you gonna always be their mother. They can't deny that. You're gonna be mama. But that man can say, "That used to be my old lady." But your children can't never say, "That used to be my mama." So you make a choice. If you won't be that old lady, "That used to be my old lady," that's my mama. Cause they do that, children will always be I'm always be your mama. But I may not be that man's wife. I used to be the old lady.
But then that's sort of saying it's okay for the children to be spoiled.
No, I'm not saying be spoiled, but not the kind of kids is not spoiled. It's the way the man is thinking.
I was about to say, and that's your perspective. That's how she sees it from her perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
Then he come in with the idea, because they're somebody else's children, another man. Maybe he knew the man. He didn't like the man. He can find some fault with the children. The children can be little angels, but he gonna say they little devils. A mother know her children. She know each one have a different personality. And then you let a man stand up and say something about your children, you need to start looking at him upside his head. What's wrong with you?
Okay. Ms. Rowley, anything to add before we go to the next one?
I was thinking about a lot of women get men and they don't believe, like they may have teenagers and the man may molest the girl, and then the mother doesn't believe what her child said. She believes in the man. But if you are a true mother, then you will believe your children.
Absolutely. Okay, last cream letter. Dear Crème Experience, I am a young, single, hardworking woman. I told my boyfriends that it was okay for him to stay with his friends if he was out getting drunk. My boyfriend began having an affair. Was I too trusting, or should I have not worked overnight? Do I need to read it again? Because I did. So okay.
She too trusting, First, I would know who the friend is, because the friend could have been the person he started having an affair with.
Okay.
You at work, you don't know.
Okay.
So no, he just go out and he gonna drink, bring it home, and get loaded at home.
Get loaded at home.
But that's what happens.
Now, I would say if it's something else, do it at your own house.
Yeah, do it at your house.
But I would say on the flip side of that, I guess I'm a little too trustworthy, because I would say if I have to work overnight, I have to work overnight. I can't be at work but then worry about what you're doing. That's where trust comes in a relationship, and it's why it's so important to talk about it ahead of time. While you're in, even whether you get married or not, you have got to talk about it, because I'm not going to be able to watch you 24/7. You're not going to be able to watch me. I may have to work overnight. There may not be an option for me to work I'm not going to quit my job just because I don't trust you.
What do y'all think about her saying that it was okay, like I sort of kind of got from it, like even to spend the night, right? And maybe because he's drunk, but what do y'all think about that?
I would never have given that.
No,
I would never have
no,
voiced that. Okay, why did you stay all night? Well, I fell asleep, I got drunk, where? You know, but I would never have given that permission
Permission to do that.
for you to stay. Because first of all, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's taxi cab. You can get home. without
Especially,
driving.
that's this modern day time. This
Yeah.
is a letter of today.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uber, Lyft, anybody
But
can
even
do
if
it.
it's not a letter of today, there's always been taxis.
There's
and,
always been.
And what about, friends,
Well,
giving
yeah,
a
and
friend
our
home,
mutual
drive
friends.
home, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
That's different.
my first one, he should say he fell asleep in the car inside the room.
That's what you said.
Yeah, that's why he couldn't come home.
So now we're talking about excuses that men give
Uh-huh.
you not to come home.
He was on side, he fell, he was loaded, just.
Yeah.
Now, how many times can you do that? Get away with it.
How many times you can use that?
That's right. How many times can you do that? And somebody accepts.
And somebody really had that.
Was it her house that she moved him in with her?
That's
or-
what she said.
I don't think that was right in the beginning.
Okay. And elaborate on that. What are your
Because, one day you may come home and somebody's in your bed with the maid.
That's right.
And is he bringing in money? Why do you all have to?
So in other words, why if you guys are dating, why can't you live in your house and he lives in his? Is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
If you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you want to have sex, either you come over here or I go over there.
Okay.
We have a little booty call.
We're speaking the truth here. Yeah, that's right. All right, ladies, let's go to our lightning round. So if you can take out your paddle. Okay. So audience, this is our lightning round. So these are questions that our ladies our panel guests have not seen these questions. We want their raw reaction. And so they're going to answer yes or no. Okay, so this will go a little fast. So the first question is it okay to watch porn with my man? Yes or no? So 2 yeses, 2 no. Should I allow my man to stick his penis in my butt? Yes or no?
No.
We have 1 yes and 3 no. Should I marry a man who makes less money than I do? We have 3 yes and 1 no. Miss Marla, let me tell y'all something, Miss Marla, you have your money? Miss Marla is out of there.
No nonsense.
Next question. Should I allow my husband to have a threesome if he asks me to?
Hell no.
No. I'm sorry. Okay. Should I support my boyfriend financially if he is going to school? We have 3 no's and 1 yes. It's like you go back and forth. There's no maybe. You have yes or no for a reason.
You said boyfriend.
Boyfriend. So there's 3 no's and 1 yes. Okay. Should I help my husband take care of his kids that he has before marriage? Yes. So we have
Because you married into that, that's your responsibility now.
okay. So we have 2 yeses and 2 no's. And I just want to point out that the younger women both said yes. The older women both said no. Next question.
We don't play that.
The money gonna come lacking from somewhere else.
Okay, next question. Is it okay for me to put a tracker on my boyfriend's car? No. Okay, no. Okay, everybody know. Okay. Should I tell my boyfriend that I had an abortion?
No, that's not his business.
No, of course. Okay. My husband is a low down, dirty, stinking snake. Should I cheat on him?
No, that make you low.
Get out
No.
of it. That makes you.
4 no's. Okay. I inherited a lot of money and my husband is unaware. Should I tell him?
Miss Ron.
I got
So what do we have on that? What was that?
one no and 3 yeses.
No, Miss Rowland had a no.
Okay.
Okay, so let
We
me
from the
let
old
me
school.
just highlight again that the younger women both said yes, and the older women both said no. Okay.
We from the old school.
But they have the separate bank accounts too.
Yeah, they have some bank accounts, so they have experiences.
Oh,
They have different
different experiences. That's what this is about. Okay. Should I tell my husband that his friend came on to me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, 4 yeses. Should I allow my husband to be friends with his previous girlfriend? So we have, 1 yes, Lynette by herself, and all 3 no's. Okay. Should I continue to be friends with my previous boyfriend? Which one? So we have 2
I think
yes.
it depends if you have children or something like that.
Okay, well, these are yes or no.
Yes or no.
I think I'm trying to.
Yeah, I know.
All right, next question. I've spent a lot of money shopping. Should I tell or confess to my husband? No, 4 no's. I don't like my husband's mother. Should I tell him so that we can work something out? So, okay, so 3 no's.
I don't believe in faking.
And Queen
Ain't
is
no
the
shame in
only
faking.
Queen is the only one
Don't
saying
like
yes.
them.
All right, okay, so we're going to take a break and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back. I'm Soretta with Crème Experience. So this is Q&A and we have a question from one of our studio audience. Thank you for joining us. And what's your question?
I had 2 questions.
Okay.
I had one you stated earlier in regards to commitment, a relationship. The first question, a relationship is commitment. I'm 29 and I'm in a social media generation where I had an ex tell me, we're millennials, we don't commit anymore. So as a girl who was raised old school and I want that commitment, and I'm 29, no children, and I'm waiting for that commitment, what do I do in a world who don't commit?
So a girl who is old school but still talk to women of your age on a weekly basis, you are not the only one. I would say, number one, I don't know if you're a believer. If you are a believer, okay, thank you. You are a believer. So continue to pray. Don't put your standards down for anybody. Don't let your guards down because that person is out there. You continue to seek God. Ask God for that man and he is going to find you. But you have to get out for him to find you way past social media because remember, social media is just fake news. It's just fake everything. We put on this, this fakeness every day of how we want people to perceive us. No, this is the real world. You be the real you and God will send you somebody. You just, number one, continue to pray for them. They're out there. Trust me, they are out there.
And she said something really important. Definitely praying is most important. But did you hear her say get out?
Get out.
Okay. I come across so many women who say that they want to be in a relationship, but they don't get out. And I have a person that I used to tell her that if you want your delivery driver, if this is who you're looking for, or maybe the mailman, or whatever, then it's okay for you to stay at home because you will come in contact with them. But other than that, you're not going to come in contact with too many men in your house. So get out. And you're young and beautiful, so you ought to be going everywhere, right? Okay, not just because you're looking for a man, but so that he can find you. He is not going to find you in your house. Okay. All right. Your next question.
My next question was about being submissive and the financial part. I've been doing a lot, with family help, but I've been doing a lot substantially on my own in a sense. And so what do I do if I don't mind a joint account, but then I have to have my emergency account. So it's kind of like, what do I do in this sense? Because I don't want to, I worked hard for what I have, and so I don't necessarily want to share all of it with you. And then just in case we don't work, then I want to have my emergency funds to me.
Okay, panel guest.
Now, I gotta say for me, because you just said, to me, marriage is wholeness. And I might be a little different than some people, but to me, marriage is wholeness. So you are giving your all. You're not giving, I can't come into a marriage thinking I'm going to give you only half of me. So because you said I've worked hard on this and I can understand you saying that. I've worked hard on this, but you said, but I don't want to give you all of that. Right? So that's not really wholeness. So it depends on how you feel. I don't think anything is wrong with that. Have your separate account. Whatever works best for you. What works for her household may not work for my household. So that may work for you.
Also, you need to talk to your mate. You need to be upfront with him. You need to let him know, because if you're going to him wanting the wholeness, you don't need to have the secret. I mean, be upfront. I would like to have this account. I mean, how do you feel about that? But not after you're married and I've settled down. I mean, you need to have that conversation when you know that you're getting serious with someone upfront.
Ms. Wickerson, Ms. Rowland?
Well,
They say yeah.
It's your perspective. It's your perspective. And so just like we want our audience, including her, to take from it from what they will, right? So from your perspective, what's your advice?
well, I say, give your, you see how I put it. You come together, sure, but always keep some money for a rainy day. You don't know when it's going to storm.
She said you don't know when it's going to storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, because 9 chances out of 10, he got something hid somewhere, I don't care. It may not be much, but he got a little hid for a rainy day. Because sometimes you be saying, you ask, I don't have any money. But all of a sudden, some money shows up from somewhere. And well, I thought you didn't have any money. Oh, I had some hid, But now, do what you think is right, but I always keep a little for a rainy day.
Okay, Ms. Rowland? Advice?
When I was younger, a lady told me to marry someone in your class, and I didn't understand what she was talking about. But then I realized she said marry someone on the same level that you are on. And I understood what she was saying.
And so you're saying if she marries somebody who's on her same level, she won't have to worry about all that, whether she has to fill out extra stuff. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reagan.
I would like to thank our amazing panel. You guys did an awesome job. Also, thank you to our studio audience. This has really been a blessing, and I hope that when women see this, that they are able to not just learn, but to really listen to what our panel had to say. If you guys noticed that our panel guests consist of women who are of different ages. Well, there is a reason for that. So the purpose is not that you have to do what each person on this panel did, but the idea is that maybe you can identify yourself in them and take some of the things that they have learned. So I'm a firm believer that we are who we are because of what we have either learned or what we have experienced. And today I want you to learn and live your best life based on what these women have experienced. Until next time, enjoy.